Welcome back to the Final Whistle podcast. I am Javon, and this is your Manchester City versus Chelsea match review. Let's get into it. Now, welcome back, guys. Before we get started with the review, please remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you know when I upload a new video. Now, let's get into it. Chelsea traveled to the Etihad with hopes to capture another 3 points to get another run of form going. That was not meant to be, as we lost 3-1 to Manchester City. And for me, this was a very demoralizing defeat that highlighted all the issues that we've been talking about over the season, from the striker to the drop off in midfield to defensive issues. Definitely not being able to see out games, because while we were 1-0 up, we were unable to take some of the chances. But before we get into some of the mistakes that we make, let's start by looking at the lineup that Enzo Maresca put out. And we can get started now. This is going to be the lineup. This was the lineup given to us from Enzo Maresca. Now, in goal, we started with Robert Sanchez. In the right back position, we had Reece James. In the left back position, we had Marco Correa, and both centre halves, we saw Levi Colwill partnered by Trevor Chalobah. In midfield, we saw Moises Caicedo and the return of Enzo Fernandez and Palmer playing in that 10 position. Madueke out on the right wing, Nicholas Jackson down the middle, and Jadon Sancho off the left. Now, in this starting 11, this would be the team that would start, and in the second half, subs such as Nkunku, Pedro Neto, and Malo Gusto came on. Now, let's start with the game at hand. The game started very cagey in the first 2 or 3 minutes, but then we got a grip of the game. We got a hold of the game. I want to say our first 15 minutes was our best. They were their best period in the game. The pressing was on point, passing was on point, and we got a goal based on pressing. Nicholas Jackson pressing the defense. I forgot the name of the young lad. I think it's Gordonov or Kordonov. I cannot pronounce his name. He made a basic error by playing the ball back to the keeper. And it's not necessarily that he played the ball back to the keeper, but the type of pass he played back to the keeper, which Jackson intercepted and played the pass off of Madueke. So Madueke scores in the second game running, and Jackson finally gets an assist to contribute towards the goals for the team. Now, you'd think we'd kick on from that. City starting shaky at the back. You'd think we would press down the left-hand side, given that the kids started a bit shaky, and that is Matheus Nunes playing at right back. A midfielder playing in a defensive position is not necessarily always a good thing, especially when they're playing out as in the full-back position. So you'd think we'll press. That was not to be the case. What instead happened is, before I get ahead of myself, we did create a few chances in the first half where Jackson should at least have made it 2-0. I said it should have been 3-0 in the first half. I love Cole Palmer. Again, our pressing was really good in the first half, and as a result of the pressing, Cole Palmer won the ball back and was 2-2, took a shot, wasn't on target, went wide. Then a ball got played through to Cole Palmer based on City having a high line. He's in behind 1-on-1 versus the keeper. Decided to square it to Jackson. Yes, the pass was a bit off, but Jackson, all you had to do was put it on target of the goal with your left foot. The ball's coming across. Just redirect it with your left foot. It's 2-0. The game's changed. We're up 2 goals. And we'd be more confident. Madueke got by his man a couple times in the first half, put in some good low cut crosses into the box. There's a moment where he beat 2 of his men, laid off the Palmer. Palmer picked it up, shot deflected, went over the post. But in all honesty, the first half, after that first 15-20 minutes, was very, very lackluster. And not to mention, also late in the first half, Madueke and Reece James both kept I think it was Gavardiol onside. Now, it is an indictment on us if a left back is having so much freedom to be able to get into these positions to score a goal. Madueke was instructed to track the runner. He tracks the runner, but he's not looking in the line. He's not looking at the defensive line. Reece James steps up. He couldn't pass it off to Reece James because normally when if you're a winger and you're told to track around, you're supposed to track around and pass it off the defensive to the defensive player. But all in all, very poor from Madueke. Now the shot comes at Robert Sanchez. Sanchez could have palmed it away, could have knocked it backwards, coming from towards goal towards back towards the defender. No, the shot hits Sanchez, it deflects into the path of Gvardiol, and City make it 1-1. Defensively, all round very poor, and there's no excuse for that. Madueke, you have to do better in terms of tracking, in terms of watching the line and tracking your defensive player. Now, moving on to the second goal, because we're reviewing all the goals. Robert Sanchez, please explain to the people and the crowd what in God's name were you thinking? You got caught in no man's land, and all Haaland had to do was lob the ball over your head. Man, these were warning signs that this type of goal could come, because if you look at the defense, Cole, who was trying to deal with Erling Haaland, looked very timid, and Erling Haaland bullied him in the second half because Erling Haaland smelled blood, in my opinion, and he bullied him. When you're getting bullied and dominated by that, you have to rely on their other teammates to get them back into position. You cannot keep getting isolated one-on-one with someone who has the better of you. No, that is not okay. That is not okay. And we saw how that played out. Cole made a bit of an error, being dragged in, or getting caught in, or stepping in a bit too early on Erling Haaland. And Robert Sanchez, what in God's name are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you coming out thus far out of your box? That is completely unacceptable. And this goes on the manager. You keep playing Robert Sanchez. It's back-to-back game that he's made defensive errors. He's been making defensive and goalkeeping errors all season. Why do you can't stick with this man? Is Jurgensen that much worse? So we have an issue both up front and in defense. Glaring issues. But before I get sidetracked, let's look at the third goal. Ball goes up to Erling Haaland again. That jostle, that battle between Cowell and Erling Haaland was always going to be one winner. And it was always going to be Erling Haaland. Receives the ball, holds up the ball, passes off to the unready midfielder, which was Phil Foden. Phil Foden gets in behind, slots it up 3-1. Game's done. Game is absolutely finished. Right? And that brings, and at that point, I just feel dejected. I remember when, I don't want to skip over this because this is a very important point. When Robert Sanchez scored that goal, the drop in the player's head from Enzo Fernandez to Cole Palmer to Moises Caicedo, the drop of their heads, you could feel it to the television that no one truly trusts this guy, and they do not. And they feel so uncomfortable with him in goal, especially today. Another player I want to speak about as well is Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer didn't have the best of games today, and he was very poor. Some of his passes was, especially in the first half, when we were a bit better in the first half, his passes were off. I'm wondering if he's carrying something or whatever the case may be. He was just not good enough. Another big game he ghosted. We haven't defeated a Big Six team all season. Right? Sancho went missing in the second half. Madueke did bits in the second half, but ultimately not good enough. The fan base is going to crash out on him. I don't need to crash out on him. I'm not going to add more fuel to the fire. The biggest issue for me today, when we could have been 3-1 up, was Nicholas Jackson. There was another point in the second half where I think Sancho or Enzo Fernandez played him through one-on-one with the keeper, and he just falls over. There was no one tackling him. There was no one doing anything to him. He just falls over. His hold-up play was bad in the second half. There was another play where he gets the ball, he's dribbling, he's in on goal, and his shots is just floppy. I am done with Nicholas Jackson. At least as a starter. We can't keep doing this. 7 goals. I'm sorry, my apologies. 7 games, no goals. And it's not like you've been it's not like you've been derived of service. Or deprived. Sorry, that's right. It's not that you've been deprived of service. You've been given multiple chances that are clear cut, and you've taken none of them. Right? Shameless to say, but the fan base that everyone, but the person that everyone in this fan base hates. Madueke got a goal, and he's a winger that no one likes. Right? Pedro Neto came on and did nothing. For those who saying, "Oh, he's better off the right hand side," I don't want to hear that, because when he was at Wolves, he played comfortably better, giving us better output, and when he's given at Wolves than when he's given off on both flanks. At one point, you didn't know if he was truly a right winger or a left winger, so I don't want to hear that, right? Christopher Nkunku came on the 60th minute and offered absolutely nothing because there was no threat up front. There was no out ball up front, right? So, which tells me our biggest issue right now, is definitely we need a striker. And the difference between us today and Manchester City is definitely Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland didn't have the best of games today, and he wasn't fantastic or scintillating. It was simply got his chances, and he took his chances. Right? Hold up play was better. Link up play was better. If Jackson was in the same position that Haaland was in for his goal today, no one can wholeheartedly put their hand on their heart and say Jackson would have taken that, because he was in a similar situation. It was in a similar situation where all he had to do was strike it at goal. What he does is he falls over twice. What does he do? He flops at the goal when he's trying to shoot. And playing him throughout this negative run or this bad run of form is not helping anybody. Because how are you supposed to be confident as a team when you can't keep a clean sheet and your number one guy that you create chances for can't score goals? I'm telling you, if we had taken those chances in the first half that we created, we would have won this game. And would have won it comfortably too. Because a goal does not only give confidence to the person that scores it, it gives confidence to the entire team. Makes you want to work harder. Makes you up the level of performances even when you're tired. But when you're tired and dejected, and you know that your goalkeeper could probably give away a goal, you know that your forward is not going to score, it's going to cause a massive collapse at some point during the game. So yeah, ultimately it's not good enough, and we look forward to West Ham. We gotta pick up 3 points at West Ham. We're outside the top 4, I think, by a couple points, and yeah. If we don't rectify this soon, our season could look very, very, very spooky and be detrimental. I don't know how we have these glaring we have these glaring problems, and our biggest target this transfer is Garnacho. Why are we going for a winger when you clearly need a striker who's of more important? A striker is of more importance. This cannot run, and the club has to do better. We just have to do better. Club just have to do better, and we're not gonna go nowhere if them continue with all of this foolishness. We're not gonna go anywhere if we continue with this foolishness. I'm tired of it. I'm absolutely sick to death of it. The second half drop off was so horrendous. We don't have nobody for come on in our midfield for try up the tempo. We don't have nobody. We're clearly better than our wingers for come on and up the tempo. We don't have nobody up front in the striking position to come on and up the tempo. This was absolutely horrendous. And the sporting director on need for lift up. Because on the squad building is shit. I'm tired. I am done. I'm clock out. I'm done. I'm tired of this. Tired of foolishness. Chelsea Football Club should be better. Anyways, thank you for joining me on the Finals of Podcast. Bless up. Peace.